Hello everyone, and welcome to part 3 of the assembly tutorials for SLASH-ACCRE. This time we're not going to take a look at something that comes with the core set. This time we're going to take a look at the first accessory pack. Now these are largely optional parts that are also largely ornamental. You can use them in the game in such a way as they sort of work as terrain that your characters have to move around, so they do have an effect on the game, but they're not essential to the gameplay. But they do look pretty damn cool. So let's take a look. Now the set comes with these 4 3D printed beds, as well as 2 laser cut MDF sheets. Now the beds could be silver, they could be orange, you'll probably get a mixture of both. It really doesn't matter though. We're just going to go ahead and put them aside so that we can focus on assembling the sheets. Now unlike the core set assembly, in which the glue is optional, I really suggest it here, as well as a zip kicker, or spray accelerant, whatever you want to call it. There are a lot of small parts, so you do sort of need these in the assembly. So we're going to move this one aside, and we're going to focus on this sheet first. Now this sheet contains all the parts needed to assemble the 4 lamp posts. All the parts needed for the lamppost assembly are right on the sheet. You'll notice it has the same base as we have with the trees. So we're going to start popping these out. As you can see, as with the core set, a lot of these are so well laser cut that they'll fall right off the sheet. If they're not, don't worry about it. Just be careful working them out so that we don't damage anything. So here we are. Now that we have everything off of the set, we're going to take the main piece, and just like the trees we've seen before, they have 2 opposite slots. The top slots right into the bottom base part here, and there's the same pegs that we have at the bottom of the trees. If you've done the assembly for the core set, those will already look familiar. So we're going to go ahead and put these other 4 together as well. And to finish the assembly, we're just going to take this round bit here. This is actually the camp light itself. And as you can see, it slots right onto the curved part of the lamp here. Now, I've mentioned this before, most of these laser cut pieces stick together pretty well, but for the accessory set in particular, I do recommend using glue. It has a lot more small pieces than the core assembly set, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. Just a dab of glue. Get the slot together. And then I'm going to hit that with a quick spritz of the zip kicker. And since I highly doubt you need to see me do that 4 times, we'll just skip ahead. At this point now, it's just as simple as popping it onto that base that we've already used before. Again, it has the same pegs, slots in the same way, and if you'll notice, it has the same holes in the bottom for you to put the clumps of grass or whatever. It's literally the exact same base that we use in the trees. And there you go. There are the 4 lampposts, all ready to be set up along the path of the camp or wherever you want them. With the lamps out of the way, let's move on to the second sheet. This one comes with the wall pieces needing to make the shower/toilet combo. Where also has the 2 tables and the corresponding legs. Now, I'd just like to take a moment to point out some of these pieces here. They're very small, especially this one here on the top, which is sort of the shower handle. This one is so small, it tends to pop off the sheet very easily and get lost very easily. It is also very easy to just assume it's trash or a little bit of the leftover cutout sprue. So just make sure that you remember that that is an essential piece to the assembly. As you can see, it's so tiny, it literally fell right off the sheet when I picked it up. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to pop the rest of the pieces that we need off of the sheet. And here we are. First thing we're going to take a look at are these kind of very small pieces that I talked about before. This one right here is actually the head of the shower. I'm not sure if you can see there. There are actually little holes in it where the water would come out. And we are going to need glue for this. Then we have this piece right here. This is sort of the arm of the shower. So we can go ahead and line up the peg and the slot on these 2 pieces. And as I mentioned, this is definitely going to require some glue. A little bit of zip kicker just to kind of cure that quickly. And there we go. Little shower head. Cute, huh? Okay, the next thing I'm going to concentrate on is this little piece that I told you can be kind of a problem. As you can tell, it's very easily mistaken for scrap. It's going to connect to this piece here. This side's a shower, that side's sort of the bathroom wall. We're going to take this and once again we're going to use the glue, and we're going to go right into the bottom hole here on the shower side, and we're going to glue the shower head into the top hole. Now these pieces actually fit pretty well, as you can see. They actually stay in pretty well on their own. However, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit them with a little bit of glue here, because if, God forbid, these pieces fall out, you'll lose them really quickly. And there we go. There's the, you can already sort of see the shower coming together. And everything's all set here already. So we're going to put this aside. And we're going to start working with these wall pieces. Now you'll notice that there's a slot in here, as well as these little peg slots on the bottom here. Those are going to line up with the toilet, which is something I didn't think I'd say here. So we're going to take this little toilet lid here, and that's actually going to go right in the top here. You can actually glue it down. I like to glue it up. I mean, what's the fun of having a 32mm toilet if it's closed, right? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So a couple dabs of glue on the corner pegs of the toilet seat here. We're going to line that up with the slot. And as you can tell, it's going to stay pretty well on its own. So we'll go ahead and we'll take this wall. And before we put this in, we're actually going to put the bottom part in. And that goes, that peg on the end is going to slide into that bottom slot on the wall. Now again, these pieces are smaller. Sometimes the tolerance of the laser I'm using isn't as tight as I'd like it to be on pieces these small. So once again, we're going to go ahead and use glue. Once again, we're going into the bottom hole. And just a little bit of zip kicker to make that cure faster so we can move on to the next step. There you go. Already pretty solid. So now we're going to go ahead and take the top part of the toilet assembly, something I never thought I'd say in one of my videos, by the way, and slot it in right above that bottom piece we just glued. As you can tell, there are pegs there that line up with the pegs on the side wall. So we're just going to go ahead and slot those together. And I think if you take a look at this, you can already see that, you know, the little toilet stalls coming together. So next, all we really have to do is slot it back onto the back wall here. And you see these, we have the reverse slots that we use everywhere else. Now remember, the toilet side is the side with this sort of bad 80s wallpaper and the paneling underneath, because I guess everyone had wood paneling in the 80s. And we're going to line up the slots the same that we do with just about everything else we've assembled so far. Now this is nice and tight, which is good. Just push it down evenly so that nothing snaps because it's forced at a weird angle. And there you go, the bathroom side's done. Also note that there might be tiles on the side of the bathroom wall. That probably isn't going to be the case on the one that you get. This particular one was misprinted, which is why I'm using it for demonstration purposes here. Because as you can tell, it should have the same tile pattern that's on the other side of the shower. So we're going to take this half, which will have the tiles on it, and slide that onto here. This side, as you can tell, doesn't have the slots at the bottom, but it makes the completed shower. So there you go, shower and bathroom. And now what we got to do is plop it onto the base. The base has slots that are already lined up with the pieces that we've already assembled and glued in place. So it's really just an easy matter of lining those up and pushing them in. And these pieces are similar to the tabs that we use on just about everything else, so these are really kind of a nice tight fit. And there we go. That is the assembled toilet/shower combo. And I don't know how well you can see the little holes at the bottom of the shower. We have the tile work on the side. Of course, the hideous 1980s wallpaper and little toilet. So this usually goes inside the shower cabin, obviously, for tasks that require it. And there we are. So we'll go ahead and put this aside and move on to the easiest part of this, the tables. Comes with two. It's really just a matter of taking these little leg pieces here and popping them through the pegs. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure that we needed to show that in a tutorial, but for completion's sake, there they are. And there you have it. That is the entirety of the accessory set 1, complete with tables, lamps, 3D printed beds, and of course the most adorable little shower and toilet combo you're ever likely to see is the party girl for scale. And let me just show you before we go here, using one of the prototypes that I had for the shower cabin. All you do is you take the shower and you drop it right in there. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it helped you assemble yours.